guys, Califab here, and today I wanted to review this Peach Perfect foundation and tell you guys my thoughts on it, what I really feel, if I feel like it's for me or for not. I was gonna say for me or not, and just kind of tell you like how I feel about it. I got it about a month and a half ago, a little over a month ago, and I've been wearing it a ton. Basically every time that you've seen me on camera, I have been wearing it, unless I was trying out a different foundation, but typically I have been wearing this so I could do a full review for you guys, and I'm gonna do that right now, so keep on watching. Okay, so first of all, I do like the packaging on this Peach Perfect foundation. I do feel like the packaging is efficient packaging. So it's very easy to store. I don't feel like I'm gonna break it because it's not glass. I do like this packaging. It is a pump style as well. I know you guys probably already know that, but it is a pump style. A few things more that I like about it. The shade that I have is the shade Nude, and I think this is a perfect shade for me. I really do. It's on my skin right now. I do feel like it blends in very nicely. It looks good on me when I have a little bit more of a tan, like I did a little over a month ago, and it looks good on me now when I have less of a tan. So I think that this is a very adaptable foundation to my color specifically, and I feel like my skin is very adaptable to different foundations as well, which is really nice, and I know everybody doesn't have that, so there's that. A few negatives about this foundation before I start on the positives. So my first negative, it is a very, very matte foundation. So it says it's a comfort matte foundation. I would not call it a comfort matte foundation. I have dry skin, and as you dry skin ladies out there know, that matte sometimes looks very, very dry on us. Like literally my skin will peel, like flake off and peel, because my skin is so dry. So I do notice that I have to really make sure I moisturize, and the only primer that I've been able to use with this that has actually made it look good, and I mean like really good like it does today, is the Becca First Light Priming Filter. This is the only primer that I have used, and I've tried like 5 or 6 of them with this. And this is the only one that I can actually use to make it look good on my skin and not make it look like it's too dry on my skin. Also, I do notice that I do have to spray my face many times throughout the day because it does tend to break apart in certain areas. Oh my god, there's a fuzzy floating. So the certain areas that I typically end up breaking out in, or not breaking out, but breaking up my foundation in, is right here between my eyes, my nose, and definitely my smile lines. Pretty much everything else tends to stay in place for me, especially if I'm not touching my face. And those ones seem to be much worse with this foundation if I don't spray it throughout the day. And what I mean by that is any kind of facial spray. I have the Caudalie Beauty Elixir spray here. I have the Mario Badescu facial spray with aloe herbs and rose water here. You can use just a regular setting spray, the Urban Decay All Nighter, MAC Fix Plus. Any kind of refreshing spray or setting spray will do the job. But I do notice that, like if I'm going to work at the hospital or at the college, then I have to bring a setting spray with me because my skin will look so crappy by the end of that 8 hours that I just want to take it off. And I'm so mad that I wear it because I feel like I look like a crazy. You know, like I feel like I tried too hard on my foundation and it just looks horrible. So I do have to spray it throughout the day. But when I do bring this with me and I do end up spraying it, it looks great throughout the day. So I guess it's like a pro and a con. I don't know. So the next thing I will say is oil-free. I would say definitely I don't get oily throughout the day whatsoever. Even a month ago when my skin was a bit more combination, I still don't get oily. So I do agree with that claim. Now the next one says it's a 14-hour wear. It is definitely not a 14-hour wear. It is much too heavy of a foundation, in my opinion, to be a 14-hour wear foundation. like I said, it breaks up on the skin. Now, whether or not I use spray will make it look better, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still breaking up on the skin, especially in any parts you're talking or you're moving your face a lot. I have a very expressive face, people say, and I talk and laugh and, you know, whatever. And it definitely does break down in those areas, and there's no way I'd be able to wear this for 14 hours. I wear it for an 8-hour day at the college when I'm teaching, and I want to take it off immediately when I get home. Like, I cannot film after that. So that's why I typically try not to wear this every day, because then it's like I want to take off my makeup and I don't want to do my makeup a second time during the day in order to film. And I film at night typically. I will say it's not a 14-hour wear, at least not for me and my skin needs. Now, oil controlling, I will say, yes, it definitely is oil controlling. I don't get any kind of oiliness around my nose. Like this, I would say my T-zone, but really it's not my T-zone, it's like my nose will typically get a little bit oily, or my like upper lip area will get oily. And with this foundation, I don't notice any of that oiliness at all, which is really, really nice. And I don't feel like it like brings out any of that like shininess. You know what I'm talking about? Like throughout the day, you'll kind of get that little like shiny like glow to you, but really it's just like sweat that's coming through your foundation. You have to use an oil blotting pad. I don't have to use that at all. I do like the fact that I have to bring this to keep my skin hydrated instead of the blotting pads to pick up the oil. So I do feel like that. Now, another thing I will say about this foundation, I completely believe that it is more of a high coverage foundation. I will say like medium to high coverage. And for me personally, I am not a high coverage foundation type of girl. I like natural finish with a very, very light coverage that's buildable to a medium. And this is definitely a medium coverage buildable to full coverage. I get very, very good coverage out of this right away. That is one thing for me personally is a con, but I will say this is like a perfect filming foundation. Like I have like a little couple teeny tiny like little red areas, not really like blemishes or anything like that, but I do have a couple red areas on my cheeks right now, and this thing covered it up immediately, like so well. But then once again, I still have to hydrate my skin like a crazy amount. Another thing I will say about this foundation, I don't feel like the flashback on this is bad at all if you set it with a really good non-white flashback setting powder. I typically will end up using like a powder foundation, just a really, really light layer, or I will use my Wet n Wild Mega Glow contouring palette and I'll use the lighter shade here. And that is what I use today to make my skin much more matte than I would typically normally like. And I like that kind of look for filming, especially because sometimes with the highlighter and then the lights on me and stuff like that, I can tend to look a tiny bit oily or shiny, more so than I want to look. And I do love this foundation for filming specifically. So when I am filming, I do tend to pick this one up more often than not. And I do like the look of it when I'm like editing and stuff. I don't notice all those little flaws on my skin like I do with some of my lower coverage foundation. Now in everyday life, there's no way I'd want this kind of full coverage every single day. Like that's just not me. But when I'm filming and when I'm on camera and when I'm taking pictures, like for, you know, a gathering or whatever, a wedding, I like this one because my skin looks really, really good on camera and on film. So I do agree with that it says photo friendly on there. I do completely agree with that. Another positive about this foundation that I will say is that I feel like this foundation is very, very adaptable. And what I mean by that is, if I want this foundation to look very matte, like I have it on today, then I will use a matte powder. Now, if I want my skin to have a more natural finish, like not really dewy and not really matte, then I will use my Tarte Confidence Creamy Powder Foundation because that has more of a natural finish, less of the matte finish, and then I will tend to spray it with a more glowy, you know, setting spray. Something like my Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray. I do like like that a lot when I'm looking for a more natural finish. It does have like micro glitters in it, but I tend to like it a lot with this foundation to give me more of that natural finish. And finally, if I'm looking for more of a dewy finish with this one, I do feel like even though this is a comfort matte foundation, I do feel like it does adapt to a dewy finish. And for that, I tend to use my Physicians Formula Youthful Wear Youth Boosting Powder in Translucent Illuminating Finish. And because I use this one, it gives that matte foundation what it needs to have that little bit of glow and dewiness to it. And then I will also spray it with that Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray, because then it just gives it that much more, you know, different look to it. So I do feel like I can get 3 different looks out of this one single foundation. I like that about this. I like that it will adapt to what I want for the day. So like I said, today, I just kind of wanted just that flat matte type of finish. I was really focusing on my eyes and on a couple different like face products that I really wanted to try out today, and I just wanted a really flat finish to it. And then I wanted those other products to kind of show up a little bit better. And I do think that this foundation really is good for that. And then, like I said, if I wanted a more natural finish where I'm just, you know, chatting with you guys or getting ready for the day or whatever, I can do that as well. And then if I want that super glowy, like lit from within, you know, striking glow and dewiness, then I can do that with this as well. So I do really like this foundation. At first, when I first tried this, because I didn't know how, you know, drying on my skin it would be, I thought I was gonna for sure return this. And I was like, no, Callie, you can't do that, because like with the Fenty Beauty foundation, I used that 5 times in 5 different ways, and I hated it all 5 times. And that's kind of like the deal that I make with myself when I get new products. I have to use it enough to actually find out if you like it, because the first impression isn't always the right one, which is why this is not a first impression video, and I won't do first impression videos unless I'm simply showing you products and how they apply. Then it might do one, and then I would tell you later on like if the products ended up working or not. So with this one, I definitely knew I wanted to try it out for a long period of time to see if it was actually something that I enjoyed or something that I was going to end up returning, because I am not afraid to return a, you know, $40 foundation if I hate it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to keep it if it's something I hate. So my final thoughts on this foundation is that I'm definitely going to be keeping it. I will pretty much only be using it for filming and like any kind of camera work or any kind of pictures and stuff like that. But I do really, really enjoy this foundation. The good parts about it definitely outweigh the bad parts about it. And the bad parts about it was mainly the dryness on my skin. And that's really just my skin. I'm sure if you had more combination skin, it wouldn't be as bad. But for my skin, because my skin is so incredibly dry with this cold weather in Michigan, it's been really bad. So all I really have to make sure I'm doing is oiling my face. I make sure I moisturize my face. I make sure I use that Becca First Light priming filter, and then I really, really enjoy wearing this. I would not wear it all day long because I do think it is a bit heavier and my skin does break out from heavier foundations. I have not found that this one has particularly broken me out, but I do know that if I had this on for 14 hours, there's no way my skin would get away unscathed from that. My skin would have breakouts all over it. So anyways, I do recommend this Peach Perfect foundation. I know that there has been a ton of reviews already on this, but if you watch me and you have the same kind of skin concerns as me and the same kind of foundation preferences as me, then maybe this will help you for using this if you already have it or if you were thinking of picking it up. Now, if I wasn't a YouTuber and I was just like, you know, my everyday life, just going to work and, you know, taking care of my kid and being with my family, honestly, I wouldn't buy this. I would not pick this up because I don't need that kind of full coverage on an everyday basis, nor do I want that kind of full coverage on an everyday basis. Even if my skin is breaking out really bad or really, really red or just kind of, you know, looking bad, I still wouldn't want this kind of full coverage. But for filming and for special occasion type of situations, it might be worth it. It's hard to say that because for me, I don't go on special occasions every weekend. You know, I'm not going to weddings multiple times a year and, you know, going to baby showers and parties, and I'm not that kind of like out there type of person. So I'm very, very a homebody, and I like to be a homebody because then I get to spend more time with my family and the people that I love. So I hope this review was helpful for you guys in some way, shape, or form. If you have the same skin concerns as me and you have any questions about how I use this and how I, you know, set it down, powder it, anything like that, let me know in the comments down below. We can chat there. Or if you guys want a specific video of me applying this and showing you my process so that it doesn't dry down too dry on my skin, I will definitely do that for you if you guys are interested. I don't want to do it if you're not, because I know that there's a lot of tutorials and reviews out there with using this. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Take it with a grain of salt. I just wanted to bring it on here because I want to start reviewing more products, especially products that I find to be staples. Now, I find this to be a staple for my filming because I love the way my skin looks on camera. So I wanted to bring this to you and show you guys how I felt about it and kind of give you guys my thoughts. So I hope that helped you, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.